this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. Looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, the day's support, resistance and pivot levels and the Fibonacci's. It is Thursday the 22nd of April. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against US dollar, positive start to the day here. Going to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 54,726 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 55,844. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out from 55,500 levels, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 56,000 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Bitcoin target 60,000 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 57,907. Failure to move through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 52,603 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of sub 50,000 levels. Second major support level at 51,545 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, we have a narrowing of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day, but nothing suggestive of a bullish cross to come, so keep an eye on that through the early part of the morning. On the EMAs, still a bearish indicator with the 50 pulling further back from the 100 and the 200, suggesting further downside ahead. So failure to move through the pivot at 54,726 would leave support levels into play. A move back through to 55,500 levels would bring resistance levels into play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, particularly bullish start to the day here. Going to need to see Ethereum avoid a fallback through the pivot at 23.55 to continue the run at the first major resistance level, seen at 24.74. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 24.70 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 2471.72 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Ethereum target second major resistance level at 2590. Would need support from the broader market for breakout from the swing high 2548, however. A fallback through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 2239 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 2000s and the 23.6% fib at 1966. Second major support level at 2121 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, we have a narrowing of the bearish histograms through the early part of the day. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 pull away from the 100 and the 200, delivering a bullish indicator. So key through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 23.55 and break back through to 24.50 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will come into play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, also bullish start to the day. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid a fallback through the 23.6% fib and pivot at 262 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 273. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through to 270s. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 276.97 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Litecoin target 300 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 288. A fallback through the 23.6% fib at pivot and pivot at 262 will bring the first major support level at 247 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should stay clear of the second major support level at 236. Looking at the MACD, we have a narrowing of the bearish histograms early on, but no sign of a bullish cross, so keep an eye on that through the early part of the day. On the EMA, the 50 has flattened on the 100 and 200, but we are seeing the 100 close in on the 200 and a possible bearish cross, so also need to monitor that through the early part of the day. So key through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the 23.6% fib and the pivot, both at 262, and move back to 270s to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels will be in play. And you're looking at Ripple's XRP against US dollar, also bullish this morning. Going to see Ripple's XRP move through the pivot at 1.3453 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 1.4090. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 1.4s. So barring an extended rally, I'd expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 1.46406 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, got the second major resistance level at 1.5278 and the 23.6% fib at 1.5426 to cap any upside. Failure to move back through the pivot would bring the 38.2% fib at 1.2807 and the first major support level at 1.2264 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should stay clear of the second major support level at 1.1627. At the MACDs, we had a narrowing of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day, but nothing suggestive of a bullish cross, so keep an eye on that through the early part of the day. On the EMAs, a bearish indicator with the 50 pulling further back from the 100 and the 200, and the 100 pulling further back from the 200, suggestive further downside ahead. So key through the early part of the day would be to move through the pivot at 1.3453 and back through to 1.4 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels will be in play.